So when we're talking about our color wheel, we have 12 different sections, and it's basically teaching us how the colors blend together and the order that they transition in. So as you can tell, we have the same shape throughout the whole piece, and we'll be applying the colors specifically. This person kind of made a little mistake on it though, because they didn't tuck this last shoe underneath. But otherwise, like color-wise, they did a pretty good job. So we'll be doing a lot with like selecting. We're going to review how to remove a background and rotating things. That's the big goal for today in order to get started. So I'm going to go through the steps so you could set it up as we go along. And I will post this and I'll type it all up. So I'm asking you don't set it up while I talk about it. Just let it sink in first, and then I'll give you time to do it. Okay? So when we make our color wheel, we're going to start with something that's 12 by 12 inches. A lot of people chose not inches today, so please make sure you do inches. We'll keep our resolution at 300 like we always do. We're going to keep it in a CMYK color mode. And for this project, I'm going to ask that you change your background to transparent. So that's those checkers. Especially we'll be dealing with a lot of white, and that tends to get really confusing. Okay. I found that most people didn't have their ruler on the screen. So do you remember like control what letter we hit to get our ruler back? R. Good. Control R gives you a ruler. If for some reason yours is not in inches, it may be in some other one, you just right click on it and you'll just make sure it's set to inches. Okay. A few other little reminders. If you want to zoom in, Control plus. You want to zoom out, Control minus. And then if you just want this to like fill the screen, Control 0. Okay. So when we set up the screen, I'm going to have you set some guides. Those were those aqua lines that were like invisible ink. So they like mark the page, but they'll never ever print. So there's a few ways we can go about doing it. So if the page is 12 by 12, what's halfway across the page? How many inches? 6 inches. Perfect. So you could click on the ruler and drag it over like this, or you could go to view. Yours says guide and then new guide. And in this case, I'll set it to horizontal and do 6 inches. So I'm going to have you make like crosshairs like that. Okay. That's the point we want to get to today, just to get started. Okay. I'm going to type up the steps on here as well, and you can take a pause, and we're going to do that. Okay. Do you have any questions so far? All right, cool. Let's do it. If I'm making a color wheel, I want to start with something that doesn't have a lot of color to begin with. So I want us to start thinking about items that are white that we could cut out. And we're going to remove the background, and we're going to duplicate it a number of times and also rotate it almost at like the same angles as a clock. We're going to have 12 of the same item, and we're going to rotate it at 30 degrees basically to get those nice perfect angles. Okay. So what I did is I looked up a white sneaker. So I'm going to ask that you don't do a white sneaker, but you pick something else that's whitish or like mostly white that you could use. Okay. And in order to edit it, let's review like how like a lot of different ways we can remove a background. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to save it. And I usually save it to my pictures. Once it downloads, I can drag it into Photoshop, and I can drag it up to the top here where there's like a little tab area. I'm going to put it in its own screen just so I don't like accidentally move anything I had before. So I'll give that a moment to load. Okay. So automatically, if I look at my layers over here, what do you notice appears there? The padlock, right? So it means it's not going to let me really do anything. So if I click on it twice, I'll unlock it. And now I can do some editing. So thankfully the background's all pretty much the same color. So there's a lot of ways to remove it. What are some of the selection tools we've used in the past to like select an entire background? Perfect, like magic wand. So that's about the fourth one down in the row. Remember, you want to...
Before you continue, how do you make the toolbar bigger, like with the more options?
Oh, sure. Yeah, good point. Thank you for bringing that up. You could go to window, and you're going to go to tool. You should have tools ready. Oh, actually, you know what? That's only Illustrator, not Photoshop. Yeah, so you're good, actually. Thanks for bringing it up, though. I forgot. So let's go back. you'll probably see the square selection tool, which always makes your computer lag. So try and avoid that guy. And I'm going to go down to the magic wand. So that's going to select all the things that are kind of similar in color. But the pink and the white are really similar, and that's too much. So I'm going to Control D to deselect. And something I could do is I could adjust the tolerance, which is this like tiny number up here. If I up the number, it was 30 before. I'm going to turn it to like 60. Nope. So that made it less sensitive. So I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Let's try 15. Yep.
If you want to take out like the parts that you don't want like to be selected, can't you do like?
She goes, where's your pizza?
Yeah, with the quick select. I'm going to show that one next, okay? I'm going to show both. Yeah. So what I did is I wanted to make the tool more sensitive. So I lowered it to 15. And then now that all that fun stuff was selected, I deleted it. How do I get rid of the marching ants again? Control D. Good. So I'm going to just go back in my history a little bit to show you some more options. That's one option. It's really good if you have a plain background that's like one color. Another thing you could do is, as Hannah said, the quick select. So I can make that button bigger by using those brackets on my keyboard. Brackets are the ones that look like this. They make the buttons bigger or smaller. And you could like grab parts like this, and you could be a little bit more selective with it. Now, by accident, I selected all that stuff. If I hold down my Alt key, that little plus turns into a minus, and I can give back all that little stuff there and delete it that way. It really depends on your project, your image, all of those little things. It's up to you what works best. And then at the end, I like to just touch it up with my eraser. Usually there's like a shadow or something it doesn't select. So you could clean it up a little that way just to get rid of those. So let's review. You've got a lot of options here for removing the background. You've got your magic wand. You can adjust tolerance as needed. You've got your quick select. And you could use your Alt key to select less. And you've got your eraser to touch up and adjust. And if you want to adjust size of tip, you can use your brackets like this, bigger or smaller. Okay. Do you have any questions so far?